this case of the paramedics being bashed, it's not isolated. We're having a number of paramedics bashed on every week in Victoria, and I'm sure it's happening elsewhere in the country. But this has really outraged the community and emergency workers all throughout the country. And let's just hear from one of the victims, Monica, who was being re-traumatised all over again by the Victorian justice system.
I've been through a long road to recovery, and it's still got a long way to go before I even think about going back on the road as an operational paramedic. I think he has been treated like the victim here. And, you know, I too have been, you know, had catastrophic effects of all of this on myself.
It's interesting. She said that she felt like he was treated like the victim. It was his feelings and the impact jail might have on him. But what about her? She has still not been able to return to work. She's been punched in the face, choked, whilst trying to help a man who's gone on some mad drugs binge. I mean, there is something wrong with our system. And I said in my piece that it is the judiciary. We keep appointing these soft-on-crime judges, these civil libertarians and all these feel-good lefties who are more concerned about the plight of the offender than the victim. And we keep being surprised that they keep handing out inadequate sentences.
I could not believe what I was reading when I saw that the judge deemed that this guy's depression, this alleged offender's depression, would make prison an unpleasant or difficult experience for him. I mean, do we have no prisons for the criminally insane, for example? I mean, there are a lot of people with mental health issues who do commit crimes, but of course they should be held to account. But you know, the IPA has extensive research on this. We found that Victoria has the most lenient sentences of any jurisdiction in the country. That goes all the way back to when Rob Hulls was Attorney General, and absolutely stacked the judiciary with, as you said, a bunch of lovey judges who are handing out inadequate sentences.
And they've got jobs for life, Gideon. This is what some people don't realise, that once you're appointed, that's it. It doesn't matter. You cannot be removed. You've got in Victoria a job until at least your 70th birthday. So the impact of these appointments will be felt for decades to come.
Absolutely. And what the community doesn't have is any recourse against manifestly inadequate sentences. It's not that sentences have necessarily gotten that much worse over time. They've gotten pretty bad, but it's that there are a few scandals like this that cause headlines. So what we've championed at the IPA is for there to be a right of victims of crime to appeal or to request that the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions, appeal sentences where they're manifestly inadequate. Because right now the community has no empowerment on issues like this.
And really, the mere existence of mandatory minimum terms is an acknowledgement that the judiciary is out of touch with the community. And Labor's now pushing for these mandatory terms as well. They went last year, they added a whole bunch of new offences that mandatory terms applied to. So they've acknowledged that there is a problem with the judiciary, I think, by embracing mandatory terms, something they were dead set against for years.
Yeah, and look, I think the jury is still out on mandatory sentencing. From what I understand, you know, it would mitigate against cases like this, but on the whole, over time, what it does is it sends people to jail who aren't necessarily violent offenders, who aren't necessarily a risk to the community. And Australia already has among the world's highest incarceration costs as it is.
But I'm pretty sure with the offences that fall under minimum mandatory terms, they are violent offences. You know, whether it's carjackings, whether it's assaulting emergency workers. I don't think they apply to, you know, if you run a few traffic lights, red lights.